Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show live from the Hudson Studio. Brent Ash with you. There we go. Magic's working out some issues earlier, but looks like things have been settled and we're good. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks. Hay Feet and Ranch Services. Let me guess, rain.
Yeah, it says here 77 and cloudy. Victoria, Texas, into a high of 83, but I see rain all day. And then again, of course, rain all day Wednesday. The Wade and Carter weather always brought to you by the folks at AT Dealer Feed. And thanks again, as always, to the Atzenhofer dealerships for being the studio sponsor. We appreciate that affiliation.
And appreciate all you who listen in every morning.
Most of you we appreciate. Some of you we tolerate, right? It's fair, to be honest.
No, that's true.
Ricky King, Scott Tomko, Greg Garcia, Marvin Mickish, Stephanie Connie, Lisa Poole, Cody Bauman, among our very best. There's Marina.
Good morning, Marina.
Daniel Wade White, Bobby Leister, Linda Christ, Jr. says it's raining now in nursery.
Good.
Yeah, we really can't have to. We can't have too much rain. No. Let it rain, folks. Enjoy it.
Caused a lot of problems up around Waco yesterday. I-35 shut down completely. Motorists stranded in high water, had to be rescued. And now they're saying that rain is going to head to East Texas.
You know, what if it would have rained in D.C. the other night during Trump's birthday UFC fight? I thought it was interesting, and I know you didn't watch the event, but I thought it was interesting that they compared and contrasted Biden's June celebration on the White House lawn, which, if you'll remember, when the president was somewhat cognizant, is when you had the trannies, and remember they draped the White House in rainbow. They draped the White House in rainbow gear. They lit it up with rainbow lights. None of the Republicans at that time, none of the conservatives, none of even the normal Democrats, and I know that's like saying jumbo shrimp, but normal Democrats, none of them were screaming, "That's our house. How dare you desecrate our house? That's the people's house." Not the 1 or 2% of America that's bizarre, weird, grooming, pedophilic. Not that percent. They took over our house under Joe Biden. Remember the trans guy with the breast implants that decided to expose himself on the lawn? You remember this?
No, I don't remember.
He was in a white dress. Most of our listeners will remember that. Yeah, Junior Sample's topless tranny show. Absolutely. So nobody back then was screaming, "Oh, they've desecrated our house." They just said that's just the Dems being dim.
Well, don't forget, this is the same party and the people that wanted to normalize drag shows at children's story time, right?
Yeah, because it's just good for kids to see how other people live. It's the people that rode around, extremely unattractive people riding around on bicycles nude with body paint, and that was supposed to be normal behavior. So you flash forward and Donald Trump brings in sponsors to pay for a UFC fight, a celebration. You had patriotic music, you had Medal of Honor winners, you had flyovers. It was very patriotic. It was a gift to our troops overseas to be able to watch. And the left goes nuts.
But they don't call out the rioting in New York following the Knicks NBA championship victory.
That's coming together.
The headline, that's the headline this morning. Oh, the Knicks victory has brought New York sports fans together. That's how they're trying to reframe the rioting that took place in Manhattan post Knicks victory.
Yeah.
Well, this brought sports fans together. What, to destroy a city? Come on. That's where we are now. You had rioting, 63 people now arrested. Yesterday on our show, it was
7
57.
people shot.
7 more people arrested, or 6 more people arrested. 7 people shot. They torched a school bus.
Yeah. Ricky King says what Trump did was just too masculine, too manly.
And I'm not a UFC fan, but UFC is a U.S. founding. I mean, it was invented in the United States. Yeah, you had Brazilian grappling and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all this stuff, but
Brazilian wax.
The UFC is Dana White's invention.
Yeah.
Could you have gotten a more, they probably couldn't have played a baseball in the
It's America. It's America.
Well, it is. And I mean, there's nothing more American than UFC, but it draws in people from all around the world.
Can you imagine? And Trout connection. Oh, it went into the green room. It's an insurrection. Baseball attacking the people's house. I heard a guy yesterday.
Could that have been more fun, though? Baseball going through a window at the White House? I mean, how much more?
And Donald Trump comes out like holding the ball, and the beast is there, and it's like Sandlot. Good morning, Rena Shear.
Some kid goes up, rings the doorbell. Can we have our ball back, please?
Right? She's at the Frio River camping this week. Rena, do keep an eye out. I mean, when God washes the hill country, it doesn't take long. Be aware that those rivers over there can rise very swiftly.
Greg Garcia says, when the left goes nuts, that's when you know it was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
The tears of outrage are nourishing.
It waters the plants.
But it's just ridiculous that as they made excuses for the rioting post George Floyd, yet you couldn't stand outside 6 feet, and they made excuses for that. But anytime their behavior does something like now, they make excuses for rioting. They make excuses for anarchy. Oh, it's ICE's fault.
Yeah.
The left will make excuses for bad, immoral behavior all the time. And now they're trying to justify the rioting in New York by a bunch of idiots who weren't sports fans.
No, a PhD, a psychologist on CBS this morning pointed out that sports fans in general are better behaved and they vote, and he was certainly not a conservative. And he just said the better people are the sports fans. I actually have some news type data for you that I know we have a lot to talk about today, and it's typically a slow news Tuesday. That's kind of, I think, an industry standard. Like we talk about things often get released on a Friday, so they're buried over the weekend. Monday is when those things are often revealed to some degree, and Tuesday's kind of a lull. It's like the day after the IPO. But here's what I'll share with you. Did you hear?
It drops 30%.
Did you hear? And if so, what do you make of Tulsi Gabbard's remarks yesterday regarding gain of function labs, the United States involvement, the reality that some of these facilities, did you hear any of this? I have news for you. There you go. David Ballard says more paid protesters than insurgents. Probably so. Although in New York, David, you would think that the left wouldn't want to disrupt the left.
No, it's just idiots doing what idiots do in New York and knowing they'll get away with it in New York City.
But they probably do make a living wage doing it in New York. So Tulsi Gabbard came out yesterday. You'll recall that she was Office of
Director of National Intelligence, right?
DNI. Then she's, resigned, stepped away. Her husband is very ill. But she pointed out that the United States, under prior administrations, so we're not just blaming Joe Biden, had funded and supported up to 17 different biological labs that were involved in gain of function research, and basically, more than basically said the Wuhan lab was just one of them, and that Fauci was right in the middle of everything that was going on in the Wuhan lab. And basically, who would have thunk that the U.S., who was funding the research, would end up falling victim to, along with others, the intentional biological leak that led to COVID. And the pundit, who I think may have been Sean Hannity, if not, it was Andrew Wilkow, Breitbart News, went on and said, hey, The reality is the two biggest lies perpetuated on the American people by the mainstream media were anything related to COVID being any type of an accident.
Well, don't forget, the Chinese kicked the French out of that lab and the U.S.
Yeah.
It was the three countries were instrumental in getting that lab up and going. And by the time COVID hit, the French were out and the U.S. was out, except they kept taking our money and we kept giving it to them.
$2 million and change that Fauci directed to that particular lab. There's 17 labs.
Who's been pardoned by the Biden administration against future crimes, so he's untouchable.
Which, by the way, is a sure sign that he was guilty of those crimes that
absolutely
would come to light. Donald Trump, here's something the president did well. They looked for, and he did an executive order saying no more. The U.S. will no longer be involved in that. We're not doing that. He outlawed it globally for all nations. Like, we're not doing that. The world is not a better place because of that. So, and Monty Howard, you're spot on with my next comment. There is much concern that a very similar situation, American-backed lab, is in Ukraine.
Well, but we're not giving money to the labs. We're just giving money to Ukraine for the war against Russia. If they happen to siphon it off, we don't know, right? We don't know.
What would you do? Where would your outrage fall if Ukraine somehow utilized a biological weapon on Russia? A grave underdog in the war in Ukraine would be Ukraine. How do you feel if they used a bad, dirty weapon on the Russians? I don't know.
You're asking me, or
I'm asking
rhetorically
you
to the people?
No, it's an hour show. I can't be rhetorical. I mean, I need answers. I want the truth. No, I'm concerned about that.
No, they shouldn't be using biological weapons, neither side.
You know what they said the other biggest scam in the history of the American media on
we
people
went after
was?
Saddam Hussein because he was dropping chemical weapons on his own people.
And he did do that. That is true. He may not have had WMDs, but he did gas his own people. Do you know what they said the other absolute biggest scam ever in the history of the media?
No.
The perpetuation of the myth and lie and staged event that was the January 6th attack on democracy, the insurgent.
Well, it's funny how
insurrection.
Well, it's funny how that ties in with Fauci, because Joe Biden also gave preemptive pardons to retired General Mark Milley. Remember that?
Right.
And all the members of the January 6th committee. And then said, well, this isn't any admission of guilt. This isn't yada, yada, yada. Bull crap. If you don't think these people did anything wrong, why did you issue preemptive pardons?
That's right.
Right?
Now, you could make the argument. In fact, I think I may have made the argument at one point that there's so much politics involved that Biden, like I even kind of gave him like an attaboy. Biden may have just avoided all the political rhetoric.
Well,
but there's no getting away from
that. Was
his
excuse. Well, they're just going to come after the January 6th people, so we have to pardon them so they can't do it.
Fauci is dirty. There's just no getting around that.
None.
So very interesting.
But to Donald Trump, if he, banning, I guess, gain of function testing, but I mean, we had banned that already, and Fauci was still somehow steering money towards it
with American funds. It's one thing. It's one thing if you ban gain of function research and you find out later that Ukraine's still doing it. It's another thing if you ban it and you find out that your own country is siphoning money from one source to another.
That's what Fauci was doing, even though we weren't supposed to be funding it at that point. He was still finding ways.
Is it any different than Iran-Contra? Is it any different than the CIA selling cocaine to get money to buy guns
for the cartel.
End
up in the cartel's hands. Yeah, I
don't know if it's. I think it's a really terrible thing that somebody
CIA inventing crack to give it to impoverished black neighborhoods to hook them on drugs.
No doubt about it. Both Junior and Linda add that we all know Biden didn't hand out those pardons. I do think there's a really serious chance, and this is not judging Joe Biden. I think there's a really serious chance that the president did not know that he issued those pardons.
No, I'm more and more convinced
it was void.
This is why you didn't hear of anything from Barack Obama during Joe Biden's term, because Barack Obama was busy running Joe Biden's term.
Yeah.
It was Barack Obama's third term as president, folks.
See, what their problem is now, people are saying, Michelle Obama ought to run for president. You heard it here first. There is no chance that Michelle Obama puts her hat in the ring to run for president. You want to know why? Why, you ask? Because the Trump administration has uncovered way too much dirt.
I think it's simpler than that. If a bunch of leftist nut jobs have taken pot shots at Trump, somebody would do the same to her. There's enough nut jobs on the far right as well that would not want her anywhere near the White House.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'm not calling for it. I'm just saying that's what would happen.
No, of course you're not calling for it.
No, but somebody, you want her dead. That's somebody out there will listen to the words, and that's how they'll spin.
That's the way the Dems roll.
That's what they do. Twist your words into something you didn't say. But that's what would happen. I think she wants to live.
They're rich. They got rich off you folks.
Well, yeah. And she doesn't want to die. What more could she do? Nothing. She can live in Martha's Vineyard where the water will never rise up.
Yeah.
And swallow their oceanside vacation home.
Ridiculous.
But she can't spend all that money and enjoy the rich and the fame and the lifestyle if she's 6 feet under. And somebody on the extreme right would try to kill her. No doubt about it.
So I was visiting with John Paul Hull yesterday, and we were both talking about something we agree upon, that both J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio have performed splendidly in their roles in this administration. And I keep trying to see the natural progression would be to let J.D. run with Rubio as his VP. That's the natural progression.
Here's the interesting
But is Marco better suited to be president?
Here's what's interesting, given that, Tuesday is typically a slow news Tuesday. But yesterday, J.D. Vance was all over the media talking about how, well, whatever happens, happens, right? He downplayed.
The president will back me.
Yeah. Whatever I decide to do, the president will support me. And he wasn't really committing to a presidential run in 28. He didn't commit to not running.
Right.
But it was and you made a good point when we were talking about this off air, that maybe they're setting it up for Marco Rubio to be the one.
Yeah. And JD remain
VP. But
I think if you see an amping up, this is going to run counter to what you might think. If you see a ramping up of J.D. Vance's visibility and responsibility, I think they're strengthening the office of VP, and I think they will leave J.D. Vance in that role. I could see Marco Rubio stepping in and saying, I intend to run for president. The job is not done. The job will never be finished. I want to continue the movement. I want to continue the effort. I want to use my strength gathered while being Secretary of State to negotiate global issues. J.D. Vance does a fantastic job as my partner right here, managing domestic issues. And this is the best team for the United States going forward. Otherwise, they're going to have to find some way, because of the nature of politics, to differentiate between themselves. And they're going to have to find some way to put each other down, which might open the door. I don't know who the Dems are going to run. I mean, I think it's all a circus of, you've got the alcoholic Kamala Harris. You've got the totally inept, just ignorant as a box of dog poop, AOC. You throw in, and people say, well, she got a Bachelor of Arts in economics from Columbia. So she got a participation degree. She's as dumb as a rock.
Yeah, AOC could run. She'll be 38 by 28, so she could run because she would meet the threshold.
She is just
but I don't know.
I
don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she's ready. I don't know if she wants to run in 28.
Buttigieg, Kamala, is Buttigieg going to nurse his kids in the White House? I mean, come on, people.
But who runs on the Republican side of things?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, does Thomas Massey get to the stage and try to resurrect the Tea Party type of takeover? Does Ted Cruz throw his hat in the ring again?
Yes, I think Ted Cruz does throw his hat.
Does Nancy Mace jump in? Does Marjorie Taylor Greene jump in?
Nancy Mace is the dew off of her political rose.
I think so, but
she got smoked.
But that doesn't mean these people don't have hubris to think that they can't and shouldn't be president, right? Or on the Republican ticket.
I'm starting to wonder, Ash, as time rolls on, just as you and I agree that the Democrats made a calculated decision as a party, as an organization, as a swamp, if you will, as a backroom cigar smoking group. They made the decision to run Joe Biden out onto that stage and allowed him to flounder terribly in debate. They knew full well he would fail, and they sent him out there to be slaughtered so that they could do what they wanted to do, which was insert Kamala, and we've got a black female. We're making history.
Well, so they could circumvent democracy and the will of their own people of their party, but then turn around and accuse Donald Trump of being a fascist and anti-democracy, right? That's what the Dems do all the time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely a calculated ploy.
Do the Republicans, I'm asking y'all's opinion as well, a simple yes or no in the responses would be great. Do the Republicans gather en masse? Does Ted Cruz walk into a room with Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance? Do they sit with Donald Trump, maybe, or other Republican strategists and hammer out a plan? Do they say, look, at the end of the day, this is what's best for the party. This is what's best for the Make America Great movement. This is what's best for our opportunity to retain power, whatever goal they set. Does that meeting happen on the Republican side? Do they sit down together and say, Ted, for example, Senator Cruz, you could really disrupt this situation. It might actually be better, given your age and your amazing power. I think if Tallarico were to somehow win, they would want Ted Cruz to remain a senator from Texas. Don't you? I don't know.
Probably.
That's what I'm wondering. And James Kerr says hammering out a strategic unifying plan would be best. Now, Ricky King says that'll never happen. They won't ever walk into a room together? Okay.
I think they'll walk into a room together. I don't know that the Republicans will ever hammer out a strategic plan together. I think those days are...
Should they? Because the Dems will. The Dems will come out of their convention. By the way, they've already shown, and this is
they will, but the Dems, though, are no different than the Republicans in this point, in that longtime Democrats don't want to be associated with the AOCs and the socialists and the outright communists that are starting to run that party.
And the extremely young are starting to lean a little bit more to the right. Seems interesting.
I mean, there's more independence now. There's more people identifying as politically independent in this country than ever before.
And does independence trend conservatively? I would think yes. People that are independent are probably going to say, I don't know who I'm going to vote for, but I'm not voting for all that LGBTQ crap.
I think that's how Trump got the popular vote this time around.
I agree.
Because those folks voted Trump and didn't vote for Kamala Walz.
I don't disagree with Ricky King. He says that'll never happen. I do believe the Republican Party is full of a lot of independent candidates, but worth noting, the Democrats have already shown you, and don't take this lightly, like the Democrats say, when they tell you who they are, take them seriously. The
more projection by the Dems.
The vote, the primaries, if you will, do not lock them in to who becomes their candidate. For example, let's just say,
not after what happened in
100%.
Yeah, no.
And their bylaws, the way their party is set up, is not uniform with the Republican side. They have the ability to vote other than, they have the right and the ability to vote as delegates other than the vote in their area. For example, if they decide that Gavin Newsom should run with Pete Buttigieg because they believe Gavin can for sure deliver California, even if Gavin is second to Kamala Harris, the Dems can appoint her because, in all fairness, and I can't say I'm not a little bit jealous of that from a Republican side, but in all fairness, the Democrats don't really care about anything but the power. They want the power to rule. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think 100%. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's bad for us as Americans, but very interesting.
Well, their party mechanisms allowed them to do what they did in 2024 in removing Joe Biden and not having the primaries matter when it came to installing Kamala Harris as their heir apparent, right? It didn't matter.
So Tammy says moderates and independents don't back extremes, left or right. I can go with that, and I'll ask you objectively.
Moderates.
Which party's more extreme? Which movement is more extreme?
The communist,
MAGA or the left?
Socialist Democratic Party of America.
The new Democrat left is by far the most extreme.
But the left will paint the right as being extreme because the right seems to be shifting to be more constitutionalist. But that's extreme to the left. And it is because they want to control everything. And they think the government has all the answers to all the problems, and government creates all the problems so that they can then try to solve the problems tell you they can solve the problems. So, yeah, if you're a constitutionalist and you believe that individual liberty trumps everything else, that's why they paint the right as the extremists.
Right. Monty Howard with a solid point. He says, Carter, establishment unitary Republicans are there for the power as well.
Well, Monty, you go
Uniparty. I'm with you.
Yeah, no, and you go down something that Brent and I talked about this morning off the air is if you look at the promises Donald Trump made, he hasn't kept many of them. Where's the Doge stuff? Gone. You're not hearing, you're hearing there's tons of fraud being uncovered.
Department of Education still exists.
Department of Education still exists.
He was going to get rid of that day one.
Yeah. No new wars. Yeah, he got us into one.
Yeah. Allegedly has us out of one now.
Yeah, we're going to get into that too.
We are? Yummy.
Yeah.
Well, then let's do this. Let's take a quick break so we can tell you about Went Services. Went for all your electrical needs. Let Aaron Went, son of Carl Went, come out and give you a turnkey quote on an American-made Generac generator. Went services for all your general electrical needs.
Give them a call and just get an estimate. You'll find out how reasonable the peace of mind of knowing your house will never be without power can be.
Yeah. John Anderson, you're behind the curve. He says, I'm going to start counting how many times Brent says at the end of the day, or there you have it. I mean, you're right, because there is a bingo card.
Yeah, if we were on at 5 in the evening, you could actually do a drinking game. But hey, can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. So.
That's right. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen is your go-to tow-to. Be careful on today's wet roads. Allen can help you. Allen can help you if you get in a bind, if you end up in a ditch. Just call Allen's Wrecker Service. It's pre-Caldo Wednesday, Tuesday at Veracruz. Today's a great day to get in for a steaming hot plate of good old American Tex-Mex. You can have cheese enchiladas, rice and beans, and a crispy taco.
Charles beans are awesome.
It is fantastic. They have black bean soup that is very spicy and just wonderful. Made fresh every day. USA Concrete Coatings, USA Foundation Repair. 578-HOME, H-O-M-E. Charlie Garcia, the singing cowboy, will come out and help you level up and then coat that drab slab. You can totally change your home. I used to think that the number one ways to bring value to your home, updating bathrooms, updating kitchens, but if you can put down a tough as nails coating that won't
crack, stick, peel, or fade,
and your cars can park on it and your driveway looks crisp again.
Yep.
There's a lot to be. There's a reason that you see people power washing their driveway when they put up their for sale sign. Get out there with USA Concrete Coatings and let them do that for you.
Yeah.
Tammy adds, MAGA is about power. I don't disagree, but I kind of do. I mean,
in a way, but I think if you see what's happening, I think the ones who are outside of that are the ones that are scrambling. John Cornyn was about power. And boy, $150 million he spent on his campaign to lose to Paxton because he didn't want to give up the seat he's held for however many, 60,000, yeah, whatever it is. I mean, ridiculous number of terms.
Here's the deal, though. Isn't it interesting? And I don't disagree with Junior. He says MAGA is about constitutional power. There is no doubt that the Republican side of things is a lot closer to the founding fathers than the left. There's just no doubt about it. It's inarguable. But that said, I just find it hypocritical that John Cornyn spent $150 million of other people's money to try to get elected. I think it's only fitting that John Cornyn got bounced. Paxton's no choir boy. Paxton brings more luggage to the office more baggage than one of the Gabor sisters. But at the same time, nobody here knows who the Gabors are, do they?
No.
Darling. Not. Green Acres.
Yeah. He brings more luggage than Lovey Howell.
Right. Than Michael Jordan.
2-hour tour on Gilligan's Island. 3-hour tour.
Yeah. Abusing power. Okay.
Bill Posey says MAGA is about rural values and self-respect.
I want that to be the case. That's a nice way to look at it. But, Bill, there's just a lot. There's just a lot. I don't know. Jennifer Rayburn goes, Zsa and Ava.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Ava. It was Zsa, I think, that was on Green Acres. They were like.
They're both on the Love Boat.
Were they Swedish? They were foreign.
I mean, were they, or did they just play it up?
Or were they from Arkansas?
Might have been.
Yeah.
I mean, they both could have been Dolly Parton's cousins.
No doubt.
How about this horrific B-52 crash in California, Edwards Air Force Base?
Wow.
8 crew members believed to have died. They were on a test mission that crashed. Yeah. So anyway,
Edwards Air Force Base took off at 11:20. Went down at 11:20 a.m. local time. Usually has a crew of 5. On that day, it had 8. You got to wonder which one of Donald Trump's enemies was on that plane. Wow.
Yeah.
It is interesting that plane's been in service for over 70 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Still a very capable plane. Second biggest in the world, right? I think Russians have a bigger cargo plane than that one.
Fox buying Roku for $22 billion. Roku, by the way, I think that's where KTMV is in Corpus Christi, is on Roku.
It is on the Roku.
But Roku kind of compared to Fubo or YouTube TV, at the very least, a distant third. But now, what I think that opens the door for is a pay-per-view with the NFL, MLB.
Well, that's getting interesting with the NFL and all their, because they've claimed in their antitrust lawsuits that they're still available to about 97% of their games are on over the air,
and I
think the White House's own research has showed that's not the case.
Is the reason that's important because they are afforded certain antitrust.
Yeah,
so we're going to give you the ability to essentially collude with each other and do things that are not normal in exchange for you letting America relax on a Sunday afternoon and watch all the games. Is that, in a nutshell, what you think the case is?
Yeah. Part of it, yeah.
So tell me how those Americans, this is yummy. Tell me how those Americans can best prepare for the Brendan Sorsby show. Sorsby, the embattled young man who was paid only $5 million to leave the University of Cincinnati and go to Texas Tech, because the Red Raiders have become somewhat the New York Yankees of college football, totally willing to sell anything, buy anything. The Sorsby kid comes in and, by his own admission, is not only a gambler, he's a habitual gambler. 9,000 bets.
Has a gambling addiction.
He has an addiction, which, by the way, I think is a cop-out. It's a cop-out. Don't blame me. I'm an addict. I'm the victim here.
But he was cured amazingly quickly for an addict.
And those of us that know anything about addiction know you're never cured, right? You're in Gamblers Anonymous. Yeah. You're living it one day at a time.
Yeah. So the Big 12 yesterday went and sued Texas Tech. And
I think correctly so. The Big 12 should be able to set their own rules. Some district judge, if you have to take the time to point out to me that the judge that made the ruling was not from Lubbock and went to the U of H law school, if you have to point that out to me, that the possibility of some type of bias exists, so we're going to downplay that by saying this guy, yes, the ruling was made in Lubbock, but this is not a Tech guy. This is a U of H guy, and he lives in Fort Worth. The fact that the Big 12 can't make their own rules bothers me. So they did. They made their own rules and said, we're not going to play you.
And that he was, he'd be irreparably harmed if you didn't give him the opportunity to play this season. Well, where's the irreparable harm done to all the schools he bet against?
Or when he bets $500 through a friend on Texas Tech, by the way, we're going to lose this weekend. I can just feel it. And you're the starting quarterback, and it gets late in the game and you've got 3-1 odds because you're playing, I don't know, Baylor, and you're thinking, fine.
Yeah.
The spread is 10. You're up by 20. So you just throw that interception. It's not hurting anything.
Yeah.
We still won the game. You're up by 17. Now it's a push,
And the ruling still hurts the NCAA because the ruling basically said the NCAA can no longer enforce its own rules.
Well, they've done such a poor job for so many decades of selectively enforcing certain things.
But betting against sports has been one of them that they've not, they've enforced consistently. There's education. That's something that's a no-no across all sports. College, pro, Pete Rose. Not eligible for the Hall of Fame for betting on it.
Let's get this quote. Whoa, you went too far. This decision was made with Brendan and his family and is purely an output of practical analysis of the situation.
Yeah, because he's already been paid about $1 million in his NIL deal. So if he's smart with that money, he's okay.
But we say that like it's no big deal. This is a 20 or 21-year-old kid who's been paid $1 million, hasn't taken a snap. Brendan and Texas Tech stand on very solid and legitimate legal ground, but he faces a June 22nd deadline to be eligible to enter the NFL's supplemental draft, and there is no practical way to resolve all the various pending legal disputes and ensure his eligibility prior to this date. This is the only viable and fair path for Brendan and his future, as well as for his teammates and our university.
Now, here's the question. He's going to enter the NFL supplemental draft. The NFL has been, as all pro sports leagues are concerned with the rise of situational betting, the betting platforms such as, DraftKings, just
they sponsor everything.
Yeah. They're all over everything. I don't even know which one of these platforms is the official sponsor of the NFL, but there's one of them. ESPN Bet, I think, is another. They always have the odds. But does an NFL team take a chance on Sorsby, knowing his past and knowing that the NFL has taken a hard stance against those who have gambled in the past? Art Schlichter comes to mind.
I think they do, because I think his talent is undeniable. And I think the NFL probably has the resources to assist, or they can for sure manage the situation. I'll give you an example. The great Von Miller, defensive end, played at A&M and then played for years for the Denver Broncos and
Denver.
I don't know where Denver. He is now. But when he was a rookie, I have a friend whose son hung out with Vaughn a lot in college. And that the friend, lives over in the Memorial area of Houston, has a beautiful resort-style backyard right off and adjacent to the chef's kitchen. If you're looking at Zillow, everything is you're invited into the master suite, truly a resort. The kid, Von Miller, at whatever age he was a rookie. And he came to my friend's house to swim. And I think I've told you this story, but did you know that every rookie in the NFL has to report where they are going to be 24/7? You can't just randomly decide to go to the club at 11:30 at night. You have to let the NFL know where you're going to be. So while he's at my friend's house, so this is not like I heard, this is what happened. There's a knock at the door, and a gentleman standing there in Bermuda shorts and like a guayabera with a briefcase. And he goes, "Hey, is Vaughn here?" And the owner of the home goes, "Yeah, he's out back, going back there by the pool." The guy looked dressed to be poolside. He was a young guy. He went out back and at that moment did a random drug test, followed Von Miller into the family's restroom, watched him fill a cup, sealed it, put a label on it, took it, and left. That happened right there in Houston, Texas. So the NFL is just confident enough, I believe, to say, you've got the skills and we can make you rich or we can ruin your life.
So who takes him? The Cowboys and the Raiders?
Jerry Jones in a heartbeat would take him. He's got, you know why? Jerry Jones. We can get the Texas Tech fans to come to Jerry World. They love Brendan Sorsby. I don't think there's any doubt Jerry Jones would take a flyer on a kid like that who supposedly has NFL talent. Interesting.
I mean, he had enough sense to basically do the right thing without admitting he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Somebody talked enough sense into him to say, you know what? This will play out better if you
But if you
go to
go
the NFL
back,
supplemental draft and get away from college football.
if you can get back to the remainder of Cody Campbell's statement, he can't help but throw in that Brendan, while he made mistakes, here we go. Brendan, while he made many mistakes that he openly admits. So, yeah, I killed him, but I'm sorry. I mean, okay. Brendan, while he made many mistakes that he openly admits, has also been part of a much larger broken and predatory system.
So now he's a victim.
And we believe that all people deserve a second chance. It is gut-wrenching that there is no viable path to providing him with redemption at the collegiate level. Here's what you got to remember. Texas Tech is also playing the victim here, saying, and I've read it numerous times, if this happened at Texas or A&M, this kid would still be playing. Okay. You know what that sounds like to me? If this was a white kid that did that, he wouldn't even get manslaughter. They found Carmelo Anthony guilty of murder. I have two answers to that. Number one, two wrongs don't make a right. And number two, play the cards you're dealt. Texas Tech is much closer in national prominence to the old SMU. SMU with their upstart program, SMU winning some games, SMU blatantly under Bill Clements and his cronies blatantly cheating, giving gentlemen in college legitimate signed contracts.
Well, but it's all legal now.
Right. So
and every school's doing it. A&M, I mean, Texas is giving $6 million to Arch Manning.
Sure, money well spent. $5 million to Brendan, maybe not money so well spent. Arch Manning, by the way, never a hint of a scandal. Here's the deal. If you get white privilege,
Warby Parker glasses to wear on a given day.
Yeah, perfectly legal. If you get white privilege, is that fair? No. But if it is the way it is, if you simply are just Texas Tech, then don't screw it up.
Well, and here's the problem. There's no viable path for providing him with redemption at the collegiate level.
He can't be redeemed.
Because he bet on games he was playing in.
Do not let the crime become a part of the victimhood. Carmelo Anthony was just a young man. He made an emotional decision. How can you lock him up for 17 whole years? He was a quiet boy just trying to get into college.
You had the mob influencing college basketball games in the 70s and 80s.
You've got gambling running rampant in the NBA today.
This was before the invention of betting apps.
Here's the problem.
If he would have just been a drug user, he would have had lots of opportunities to get back into college football.
Especially in the NBA.
But here's the difference. These actions could influence the outcomes of games.
Absolutely.
And destroys the integrity
and nobody will watch.
Sport.
Nobody will watch if they don't feel like their $50 bet. And by the way, there is no college football without gambling. Certainly no NFL without gambling. If you don't have confidence, if you ever really believe that your starting quarterback is potentially throwing a game, you quit gambling on that sport. The bottom line is you can take the boy out of the ghetto, but you can't get the ghetto out of the boy. And giving these young guys unlimited funds where he says to himself, well, my dad only makes $100,000 a year. They paid me $5 million. Who cares if I gamble $1 million of it? I've still got $4 million minus the taxes. I've still got 40 years of my dad's career. I'm rich. And we've all been there. I mean, not with that kind of money, but we all think it's never going to end. We all think, you know.
As evidenced by the fact that fewer Americans have savings accounts than ever before.
Right?
Yeah.
Very interesting. In an Instagram post, Sorsby thanked his family, his coaches, his teammates at Texas Tech, and so many others who have encouraged me to address and learn more about this important issue. As my journey continues, I remain fully committed to and focused on being the best I can be, both on and off the field. I'll give you 5-to-1 odds that I succeed. I mean, this kid is just a habitual gambler.
Well, and let's this would have been a great opportunity for college athletics, because here's the problem. It's not just Brendan Sorsby betting on games. College age kids are relying more and more on the food hampers at their campuses.
Yeah.
Because why? This is a demographic that is thinking that, oh, I just got to hit one. And they're spending their meal money on
gambling. Absolutely.
Great opportunity to address that problem. But they can't, because the NFL, they get way too much money from DraftKings. And where does that go? That goes to help pay the salaries that are ever escalating. College football, too much NIL money now. They're not going to address it.
No. Well, the kids will go on strike. There'll be a union for college kids before too long. Tell you where your money can go a long way. Paravita Wellness and the Vita Cafe, but especially Paravita Wellness. Yeah. You can use them as your food hamper. Get by Paravita and let Erica Briggs help you custom design related to your macros. High protein, gluten-free, preservative-free meals that will help you achieve your health goals.
Yep. And if you're on a medical or restricted diet, your FSA card can pay for those meals now too.
There you go. Cheswick Furniture, Cheswick and Love, make your house a home. Go by and see Bobby Leon this week. Just peruse the store. It's at the corner of Juan Lynn and Santa Rosa. It is a beautiful, no, it's not. It's at the corner of Santa Rosa and Bridge. No, it's not. It's the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Juan Lynn and Bridge.
You sound like me directionally.
Cheswick Furniture. Yeah, it's at Navarro and Laurent. Well, never the tween shall meet or whatever. Get by Cheswick Furniture, because you'll see why you just always do better at Cheswick. Palace Bingo, I guess maybe this Thursday night. Next Thursday night? What day is it?
No, we can't. We've got something the 25th.
So it's got to be the 18th.
It's got to be the 18th. So
okay.
Okay, 2 days from now.
Thursday, the 18th. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Come out to Wade and Carter night. Have a blast. We win every time.
Tell your friends. Yeah. The last time we were there, 56% of Wade and Carter winners, or Wade and Carter attendees, were winners.
There you go. And then the chopping block.
Get in today. Get all your. They're stocked up for Father's Day meats this weekend for the grillins of your meats.
Absolutely. Get into the chopping block and enjoy. There you go, folks. Welcome back to the Atzenhofer Studio, where for over 100 years, Atzenhofer has been a Victoria and South Texas tradition. Hunter Brown returning to the Astros tonight to face Framber Valdez, the First State Bank of Louise Astros update. We won't dwell on that. We can only control the future. Framber, excited to be back in Houston, was all smiles and beaming. He now plays for A.J. Hinch, who he never played for before, but he plays for A.J. Hinch in Detroit.
Colt Keith, 3 home runs yesterday against the Astros.
Isn't that special? We're making other players' dreams come true. The Astros floundering a little bit. That's 2 in a row they've lost.
And they're still within striking distance of the lead in the AL West.
Yeah,
Thank God they're in the worst division of baseball.
38 and 40, something like that.
33 and 41.
Same thing.
Close.
I feel like Bob Uecker, just a bit outside.
Tigers aren't any better, and they were expected to compete and contend.
Hunter Brown will be great tonight. He'll be great to watch.
I hope so.
He's back, baby. John Paul Hull and James Geets inviting you to come down and inspect several beautiful locations for your office away from home. America's going back to the office. Fewer and fewer people are working from home anymore. Come down and lease one of these beautiful suites. It's right above Greeks 205. You can walk downstairs at the end of the day and visit with Foster Brooks.
Nobody knows who Foster Brooks is but me.
Yeah, several of our more esteemed listeners do know.
Tigers had 5 home runs last night. They scored 1 run on a hit by pitch and another on a pass ball.
Yep. First State Bank of Louise inviting you to come in, the friendliest bank anywhere. Big enough to get it done, small enough to know you by name, free checking, free savings, a free gift for signing up. The Texas Longhorns, we don't dwell a lot on college sports except during football season. The Longhorns just literally obliterated Alabama yesterday in a
Elimination
game, beating the Tide 14-2. A kid for Texas that they call A-Rod, I think it's Aaron something. One of our listeners will know. He goes 5 for 5. He has 2 doubles, a triple, a home run. The kid is just a stud. He had 7 RBIs. Just amazing. Just amazing. So
Georgia and Texas.
The Horns just blast them. Now, Georgia's had our number
7:00 tonight
in everything since we joined the SEC. I'll be very curious to see if Texas can beat them. They're both in an elimination game. Georgia lost yesterday to Oklahoma.
4-3.
But I'm not worried about Oklahoma. If we can get by Georgia, we can beat Oklahoma. I believe that. So
West Virginia and Troy in the other elimination game.
The men
today.
of Troy really coming through.
They really are.
That's got to be a function of NIL. Somewhere over there, there's a guy.
They've decided that's a sport they're going to put their
now.
hat on.
Troy is where?
I think it's in Alabama.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Let's see. Screwworms, 12 confirmed cases now.
Wasn't it 12 also yesterday?
I think so, but that's where it's standing at the moment.
New World Screwworm.
An outbreak which threatens the cattle industry.
Sure it does. Really threatens wildlife more, but cattle are inspected. Cattle are coddled.
Yeah.
So you've got to have open wounds for it to be of any real effect. Why doesn't Dr. Fauci develop a vaccine?
Well, he's retired now.
Oh, well, he made a bunch of money off COVID. A 900-pound time capsule. Was Donald Trump in it? It's packed with artifacts
Every
from
state.
all 50 states and U.S. territories.
Yep.
It's been sealed ahead of its July 4th burial in Philadelphia. It won't be opened until 2276. What do you think they put in there? I bet you they put an iPhone 17 in there. I bet you they put – do you think they put some stuff that we consider antiquated like a Walkman, a CD, a cassette tape? Like you could put one of each in there, right? An 8-track, a cassette, a CD, a Walkman, and then an iPhone 17. That'd be like the progression of communication. How about the Nationals pitcher who threw a shutout complete game and 58 of his 98 pitches were over 100 miles an hour? This is a guy that's expending way too much energy.
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm more amazed that somebody threw a complete game in the major leagues these days.
Did you see
Nobody
the guy
does
the other
that.
day that I don't remember who he was playing for or where they were playing, but he had a perfect game through 7 innings, I think. So that's 21 up, 21 down. He not only gave up let's see, there was an error that messed up the perfect game. The ball was hit to Mookie Betts. So the pitcher was for the Dodgers. Yes, I think so. At any rate, the ball was hit to a shortstop who made an error. That broke up the perfect game, but the error made it still a no-hitter. And then he gave up a run, which got rid of the no-hitter. It was a single, and it got rid of the shutout. He still won 7-1. So there'll be like a little asterisk, 7 innings of perfect baseball. He was only 6 outs away. Only 24, I think 24, 26 people have ever done so.
There, thank you for delaying. There's the story back on the time capsule. You're right. An iPhone 17 is in there.
Have that chemistry. Yep. Yeah, I knew you were floundering. I could see the screen.
I wasn't
the
floundering.
screen was scrolling over here, folks. It looked like a slot machine. It's just going, just rolling. It's like 7. Then you found it.
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
Disappeared. But
Ohio
you are
sent
right.
fabric from the Wright brothers, 1903 flight.
An iPhone 17 is in there. I wonder who gave up their Olympic gold medal to be put into there.
I don't know. Built by federal scientists to survive 250 years underground. All they have to do is wrap it in margarine. You ever seen that stuff? Flies won't get on it.
Nope. What else in there? Nevada tossed in a casino chip. Come on.
But
It's
by
the
the
best
time
they
you
could
get it
do.
with inflation, it could be worth
Yeah.
$1 billion.
That's true.
Folks, we've reached the top of the hour, and we appreciate your patience and listening with us. We'll both be here tomorrow. I haven't told you this, but Gary Prukop's going to come in and
Nice.
talk a little
Good.
bit about things he's got going on, the Drifters legend, Victoria music icon, and really, I think more importantly, he's just an all-around good guy. Yes, Joe Biden is going to go in and take a dirt nap for 250 years.
It's already been doing that, folks.
Wow. Folks, we love you guys.
Yep.
Hope you have a great day. Be safe on the roads. We'll talk to you
Tomorrow's Wacky Wing Wednesday. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
mañana.
Bye, folks.